Welcome to the Unlocked Podcast, the show where we peel back the layers of entrepreneurship to maximize your success, one light bulb moment at a time. I'm your host, Trisha Maxwell, and if you're ready to unlock your potential and rock the business world while crushing it in your personal life, you've come to the right place. If you're tired of feeling like you're doing it all and getting nowhere, then grab your glass of coffee or wine, I don't judge, and get ready to dive into the world of growth hacks, mindset shifts, peace, and productivity, and join thousands of other women experiencing the same stress and struggles. Follow along this all too familiar journey with me as I guide you out of the dark into the world of emotional freedom. So buckle up, Buttercup, because you're about to unlock some serious wisdom, aha moments, and turn that I can't attitude into hell yes I can. This is Unlocked. Hello and welcome to this episode. We are talking about fear. This is a very popular topic among business owners and women and anyone who's kind of feeling stuck where they are. More than likely, it's coming back to fear of something. But what I'm going to do is kind of break it down into two different categories, fear of failure or fear of success. I feel like every kind of fear can kind of be categorized in between those two. So let me just tell you, when I first started out in my business, my metal business, I make and sell metal signs. I had no clue what I was doing, right? And I really didn't have a vision of making it like a big business. I just knew that I was on Etsy. I wanted to make it streamlined. I wanted to make it more efficient than just selling random crafts here and there. So I honed into one particular market, which was metal signs. And I wanted to make things run smooth and easy, right? But I didn't really have a vision for like $100,000 business. Like that was not even entering my mind. I had no clue that I could make that much money out of that. I thought if I made, $25,000 a year, that was like, wow, that's good. Not the case. So I kind of had this ignorance about my my level of playing field that was my potential, right? And that actually helped me, I think, in the beginning, because I wasn't really reaching and wanting more and more and more and more. I was just trying to figure it all out. And that really helps me learn and stay content and not get too arrogant and wanting too much too fast. I actually had to learn the process of the metal cutting itself along with growing a business at the same time. So each step just kind of naturally grew in this organic way, right? Like I kind of just started growing and didn't even really realize it because it was just kind of doing its own thing, which was really cool. Now, contrast to that, when I started wanting to branch out and do a little bit of coaching, I thought, well, I became pretty successful on Etsy. And so I thought I wanted to coach other women, right? And teach them how to do the same thing. Well, I had been following people for quite some time who were coaches and who were motivational speakers and thought mindset leaders in the industry. And so what I did in my head, I jumped and I knew that I had success from one thing, but instead of going back to the beginning and starting fresh and starting small, I went big. I went, oh, well, since I'm already kind of achieving success, well, I should be up here then. And I forgot that in that different industry, I needed to kind of scale back and reassess and start with the baby steps, right? And start with that, laying that foundation of the business and my knowledge base and getting myself out there and growing my audience. I kind of skipped past all of that. And so having that said, that ignorance was bliss. That actually prevented me from having the fear of that next step. So with my coaching business, I started to gain that fear because I thought I was up here and I thought, well, if I don't reach that goal, I have a long ways to fall. Like that's, that failure is big. But in reality, I wasn't up here, right? I was back here. So if I would have just taken small steps and just gone with the flow, just those baby steps, one step at a time, I wouldn't have had that fear of failure because I was starting small. So it's kind of one of those things where you're like, it's kind of an illusion. If you think that you're going to fall so far and you're afraid of that and you're letting that stop you and paralyze you, it's an illusion. You're not actually going to fall that far. Even if you were up here, you're not going to fall all the way to the bottom, because gaining your all the way up to that success, you've gained all those skills that it took to get there. So maybe if you don't reach that goal, you're going to fall just a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. But I kind of jump ahead in that, but just to kind of give you a visual of the two different businesses and why failure stopped me in one, but it didn't in the other. So I do have a question. So it might seem kind of silly and obvious, but I did Google the definition of fear of failure and fear of success, because I had an idea in my head of what it was, but I wanted to see, what it was online, because everything on the internet is true, right? So the fear of failure is the apprehension or anxiety about not meeting expectations, making mistakes, or falling short of your goals. Makes sense. Fear of success is the reluctance or anxiety about achieving one's goals, realizing one's potential, or stepping into a new unfamiliar role. This may arise from concerns about increased responsibility, higher expectations, or changes in relationships and lifestyle. So basically what I take from this is fear of failure is someone who has they don't even give themselves credit for being able to achieve that goal in the first place. And the reason I want you to kind of identify the differences between these and identify which one you fit into is because the treatment and the mindset work is going to be different. Okay, so if you have fear of failure, you don't even trust yourself to reach your goal yet. You think you're going to fail before you even reach your goal, so you don't even start. So that's one thing you need to work on. Now, fear of success, you actually think you're going to reach that goal, but you're afraid you can't handle it. So you think that workload that you have once you reach that goal is going to be too much for you and you're going to fail. So both of them are fear of failure, but fear of success actually has another component to it. You're afraid you're going to reach that goal, but then you feel like you're going to fail at that. So it's a different level, right? So I don't believe that a lot of beginners have a fear of success, because I think they're just afraid of failing and letting other people down. So we want to identify which one you think that you fit into the best. Now you can't have both. It's okay. But just know that there's different mindset work to be done when you're tackling each one of those. Okay. So I kind of want you to think about a couple things, as to why you might have some of these failure or fears in your head, in your heart, in your soul. It depends on how deep it goes. So the obvious question is, has this happened to you before? Have you failed? Have you reached success and then failed? Was it too much for you? Now I don't know that happens often, because I don't know if you've watched the other podcast of mine with the imposter syndrome. As for myself, I have never experienced failure, because in my mind, what failure means is death. Like, I've failed at life at that point, which all of us will. But failure means like you didn't reach your goal and you are at a complete loss after not reaching that goal, right? And in my mind, that has never happened. And in my mind, that will never happen to me or to you. If you go so far to go for a goal and you don't reach that goal, that is not failure, my friends. That is a time to pivot. It's a pivot point. There is, I could go on and on and on. There is no such thing as failure. Okay? You don't fail at reaching your goals. You just change. I had an Etsy shop. I was selling furniture, earrings, wine charms, all the random crap, right? Because when I grew up, my mom had a craft store. So that's what I did. Random projects. So I thought I'd try and sell them. Well, I didn't know how to ship them. I made like a step stool. It was really cool with the Maryland flag on top. This custom order. I absolutely lost money on that, especially after learning how much a box cost that would fit that and the shipping. I was like, what? Hence the reason for me to actually, get the Better Business Plan going and eliminate all the random things. So that wasn't a failure to me. That was a learning experience. Had I not done that and had to give this person money to take their custom item, I don't think I would have the business that I have now, because I wouldn't have appreciated the need for efficiency. So it wasn't a failure. I actually stopped Etsy for a couple years. I don't consider that a failure. I consider that time to breathe and time to reflect and time to hone in on where I could take that business in a different way. So if you're afraid of failure, I think it's a false thing, and we need to reevaluate your mindset around that word. But I just kind of went off on that tangent. Get down off of that soapbox. Okay. Has someone you love or that's close to you told you that you shouldn't or you couldn't do the dreams that you have? Now, this person, if you do have someone absolutely just straight up telling you that, give me their phone number and I'll take care of it. Because that's not someone that loves you. Anyways, I really don't know that happens. I mean, because here's why I say that. I think it happens more on a passive aggressive level. Now, this has happened to me, but I don't know that people that you love are just going to be like, don't do that. You're dumb. That's a stupid idea. Because I feel like they'll probably say it behind your back instead. So here's my take on how the majority of people probably experience this same level of disappointment in their loved ones, but on a much more tactful level. They're a little passive aggressive, and they plant the seeds in your head that are saying, that's risky, and I don't believe in you, and I don't believe that you can make that work. That's not necessarily exactly what they're saying, but the way they say, like if you're talking about your dreams and they're like, oh, yeah. The nod and the wide eyes, and the hum. Yeah. That's a passive aggressive move that says, good luck. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, they're out there. Those little things like that just say it's too risky and I don't believe in you. And some of them are going to come from a place of their own discomfort, their own lack of getting outside of their comfort zone to go achieve more. So you've got to kind of realize that. Some family, they probably do it because they're worried about you. You know, they don't want you to take risks because they don't want to see you fail, which, and again, is saying, I think you're going to fail if you're worried about me. If you're not worried about me, you have 100% faith that I'm going to go out and crush it. So get bent. If it's coming from friends or peers, that's more than likely coming from a place where they have, they're stuck in their own life and they're not content in where they are, and they don't have the ability to try to go get more. And you do. And the little bit of jealousy comes in, and a little bit of I don't know. I think you're doing really good with what you've got. I don't know. I just don't see this happening for you. That's because they're going to be jealous when you actually go out and crush it. So identify those. Identify whether or not it was from your own experience, from those people that have said those things to you, and what it is that's causing you to kind of have that little reflection in yourself that makes you fearful of what you're going after. Okay, so, oh man, the way people can actually change our trajectory in our life just because of the way they say things. Doesn't that just blow your mind? Like, God, it just kind of pisses me off, like, oh, I've got these grand ideas, grand dreams. It's going to take a lot. And if these people were just behind me going, yeah, get it, go, then I would do it. But if they're not, and if they're just kind of like, okay, yeah, well, that sounds like a good idea. Go back to the thing they're doing. It's kind of deflating, isn't it? And it's a little bummer because you're like, God, in my head, I was like, jacked and ready to crush it. And then you just don't, the people around you don't have that same energy, and it's deflating, right? Oh, that irritates me because you could be on a trajectory of your life that you'd be unstoppable. But that one response knocks you back down, right? And it's bullshit. I'm sorry, but it's bullshit. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start paying attention. That's what I want you to do. Start paying attention to how people talk to you, okay? If they're downplaying your dreams, if they're not responding when you're talking about it, if their energy is not screaming, you're meant for this, you're going to crush it. Just start paying attention, okay? And then I want you to pay attention to how you are affected by that. How does that make you feel? When they aren't as excited as you, how does it make you feel? Now, don't let me forget, as if you're going to reply to me right now. I want to hit on that one, the how people talk to you and how it affects you, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I want you to just pay close attention to how people respond when you talk about your goals and your dreams. And then I want you to pay attention to how you're affected by that. How does that make you feel? I want you to journal about this every single day. Like, I talked about my dream to so-and-so, and they responded this way, and it made me feel this way. Just journal that, okay? I need you to document this stuff. And then I want you to pay attention to how you talk to yourself when you talk about your goals and your dreams in your head. Not necessarily words coming out of your mouth like, Trisha, you are a failure. Trisha, you are crazy for thinking you can do that. No, I don't know that people talk to themselves like that. It's more of a feeling, right? It's more subconscious, and it's subtle, and it's sneaky, and it can be very destructive if not nipped in the bud. So we're going to take a look at that, okay? Pay attention when you think about your goals and your dreams, and you start getting all excited, and you start going, yeah. And then what comes in and knocks you back down? Because there's something, there's a trigger that knocks you back down to reality, going, okay, you're back. Nope, back to the daily grind. That was a pipe dream. That was dumb, right? Take for example, my daughter plays volleyball for a club that I'm not pleased with. I used to coach volleyball. I used to coach volleyball, basketball, and track. And I was a sports performance coach, so I know biomechanics. I like to take a look from the outside, and I can analyze things a little bit better than how I could actually perform them myself. So I wasn't the best. I wasn't bad. I was from a small town, so I didn't have a lot of outside influence to like play club ball or anything. But what I'm better at as a coach, as opposed to the actual player, right? So I watch and I'm like, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Like, why isn't she doing that? Oh my God. It's driving me nuts, right? Probably like most parents. But me, in my head, I'm coming up with a plan how to develop my own club. Yes, that's how I solved that problem. I've got issues. So yes, on game number 2 that day, one of the moms comes up and she looks at me, and I'm like kind of thinking, just have my head down, and she's like, you're actually trying to figure out how to start your own club right now, aren't you? I was like, yeah, I'm working on a budget. And she's like, oh my God, I knew it. Like, That's just how I work. So my brain was going, oh yeah, I can do this. I got this to figure out. I got to figure out where practice times, dues, how to get in tournaments, how much does it cost, uniforms, practice times, how often, how much is it going to cost? Oh, I had all of that figured out by the end of the second match. So then I get home, jacked about it, start telling my husband, I'm like, I'm starting my own volleyball club. We're going to be called the Aces. Here's my colors. I already got a coach in mind. Let's do this. And he's like, okay. Bunk. Down I go, back to reality. Woke up the next day. I was like, well, that was fun to dream. Now let's go back to work. But if I would have had that same enthusiasm, something pushing me to go, freaking do it. I'm not kidding you. What can I do to help? Like, let's do this. I would have never stopped. I would have had my own club by now. And not to say that it's bad or good, to have pipe dreams and just take a step back, right? You don't have to go all out anyways. But is it other people that's telling you, or do you just wake up that next day and go, that was a little much? God, was I drunk when I was doing that? Like, God, I kind of get drunk on ideas, right? And you're just like, start going crazy because you're thinking about all these cool things. But so you start to look about how you talk to yourself when you start getting those goals and dreams. Do you shut yourself down and say, that's too much for you? Scale it back. That's too much. You don't need that. You can't handle that. Dumb idea. Okay. So what I wanted to go back and reflect on, how other people talk to you and then how you take that, how it feels to you. I do want you to know that you do not need other people's support to do your own goals, to reach your own goals, and to be who you want to be. I don't want you to tie your success to how everyone else treated you and supported you or did not support you. Granted, I wanted to identify it and say, yes, it's very helpful when people are around you and cheering you on. And we want to identify when we get knocked down, but we need to work on that mindset that says, if that's something that you really want and those people are not supporting you, we got to take a deep look into why you can't overcome that and just go anyways. Step over those comments, step over those people that don't believe in you and get on the road, right? Prove to them that you can by doing, not by saying. So I wanted to kind of hit on that because it was Trent Shelton did a really good podcast one time about not needing other people's approval. And that's, everyone's going to have the naysayers. Okay. You cannot let those people drag you down, but identifying when those people say those things, if it is bothering you, you can address that. And I got to a point where, I wasn't willing to accept any negative talk about my goals and dreams. And if you approached me that way, you were going to have a conversation with me about it as to why you felt that way. And I tell you what, I was kind of a bitch for a while because I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. Why do you think that? Like I actually did approach someone about, it was something silly, but I was like, why? Why do you think I can't do that? Why? What makes you think that? And I tell you what, the backpedaling that went on was insane and it was awesome. So, and then I went and did that thing. So I just want you to know that addressing those people and recognizing when you get hurt from someone else's words will help you get to that point where it doesn't matter anymore. And you can go, well, that was kind of rude, but it's dumb. So I'm going to move on anyways, but I want that person to know they were rude, So anyways, let's identify whether or not you have the fear of failure or the fear of success. Identify how people are talking to you, how you talk to yourself. And then we've got to learn how to jump over those negative feelings and statements and be on your way to go achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. Because really it all comes down to the love of yourself, your love for God, and just trusting yourself and trusting God's plan that He's got you on the right path. Okay. So anyways, thank you so much. I hope this helped you guys. I hope you are able to unlock some of those fears and just let them go and move on towards the things that you want to do in your life. Life is way too short to not be just moving forward, telling everyone else to get bent and watch me, because it's going to be a fun ride. You better watch close. So anyways, go out and be blessed.